in this universe. The Dragonborn has failed his quest. The shout never echoes in High Hrothgar. Dragon souls are never consumed, and Alduin, the World Eater, reigns unopposed. This is the dark timeline where the Dragonborn died in Helgen. Regardless of how he died, by Alduin's fire or the executioners, the result is the same. The Dragonborn is dead. In fact, he died without even knowing he was the Dragonborn. As the threat grows in Skyrim, the Stormcloaks and the Imperials continue their war, unaware of the real danger. Ulfric dreams of independence, Tullius of loyalty to the Empire. Both armies witness the arrival of dragons, and some Nords begin to theorize about the Dragonborn's prophecy. But it's too late. The threat grows when Whiterun falls after the dragon Mirmulnir destroys its defenses in the watchtower near the city. A truce is signed as Markarth falls to the attack of 3 dragons, and Riften is reduced to ashes. The civil war pauses, but it doesn't stop the crisis. In the end, no matter who wins the civil war, there will be no Skyrim to rule. Besides the return of the great sons of Akatosh, Draugr armies spread, answering the call of Alduin's Thuum, which grew stronger with time. Armies of Draugrs emerge from their tombs and attack several cities. Controlled by Alduin's power, they and the dragons cause Riverwood to burn, caravans to disappear, and the walls that once held back bandits and raiders are powerless against the Dragonfire. In Winterhold, the mages see collapse approaching. Some believe the Eye of Magnus can be used against the dragons, but fear the artifact's instability. Winterhold isolates itself, surrounded by dragons. Windhelm would be seen as a city of refuge due to the density and fortification of its walls. But the attack comes from above. The walls are useless. The Greybeards call, but no one answers. The one who was supposed to climb the mountain was no longer there. Paarthurnax watches helplessly. He tries to rally rebellious dragons, but he is but a shadow before Alduin's fury. Solstheim begins to perceive unusual psychic movements on a large scale, and suddenly, in the original timeline, the Dragonborn confronts him directly, preventing his full return. Here, however, Miraak has no rival. For him, the return of so many dragons is even minimally beneficial, since he can kill them and absorb their power. He begins absorbing dragons into himself, and supposedly allowed by Hermaeus Mora to rival Alduin, he begins his attacks. However, his goal is not to save Nirn, but to usurp Alduin's fate. It's not hero versus villain, but villain versus villain. Alduin, who wishes to restart the world, and Miraak, who wishes to rule it as a god. Solstheim and Skyrim become the stage for a war unwinnable for mortals. Meanwhile, on the Volkihar Isles, another shadow advances. Lord Harkon still seeks to fulfill the prophecy of blood. Taking advantage of the instability in Skyrim, vampires move in the shadows and locate Serana, taking the Elder Scroll of Blood with them. Without the Dragonborn to interfere, Serana and Valerica find no ally to represent resistance to their tyranny. The ritual is completed, the sun disappears, and the tyranny of the sun foretold in the Elder Scroll comes to fruition. Vampires march over the remains of burned cities like a massive bloodstain over Skyrim. The few human survivors become prey, not soldiers. Lurkers, seekers, and cultists of Miraak dominate Winterhold and seize even more forbidden powers. Several clashes between Miraak and dragons occur, including against Alduin, but none of them emerge victorious. Hordes of vampires swarm the broken bodies of draugrs. Even the undead wage war. Everyone wants to dominate the world. The Empire watches all this reticently. Weakened politically and militarily, the most they can do is send a few troops from Cyrodiil to confront the Draugr armies in Falkreath or take in refugees. The Aldmeri Dominion watches. They see a chance to subjugate Skyrim and perhaps control their own destruction. However, not even elven power is a match for Alduin. Even the Thalmor flee before the World Eaters roar. With Miraak's hunger for domination and Harkon's tyranny, the world descends into complete instability, paving the way for Alduin's devouring. What began in Helgen ended in silence. A single, thoughtless moment, the death of a nameless prisoner, condemned the entire world to destruction. This is the timeline where the hero never lifted his sword, never mastered the Thu'um, and never faced the World Eater. The world ended because the Dragonborn died in Helgen.